So we all love JoJo for many various different reasons, but at the end of the day, we can all agree that the best JoJo is Johnny, but we're not talking about main JoStars today. For a while, I've been wanting to make this video talking about side characters in JoJo that I feel can seem like main characters at times, and they have moments to showcase this. So for today's video, let's sit back and take a look at various side characters throughout the JoJo series that felt like main characters. And I'm not just talking about their introduction arcs where they're obviously the main focus. I'm talking about in general, just how they act towards the part, throughout the part, from beginning to end, their start of the character to the end of the character, and I guess we'll label them as pseudo JoStars or pseudo main characters. So to kick off this list, let's talk about Bruno Bucciolati, who despite living in a rotten world, wants to walk the path he believes in. Bruno's first introduced when he's sent on a mission to find the person who killed leaky-eyed Luca, being Giorno, and kill them. And you guys most likely read part 5, so you know what happens after that, and in case you didn't, go read. Just don't skip parts. Seriously, take your time. Bruno's generally nice to the people he meets despite showing how quickly he can change his attitude and become extremely violent if necessary. But even still, he's extremely righteous and will put himself into danger, risking his life in certain situations to help others. And Bruno didn't completely rebel against Diavolo until he found out he wanted to kill his daughter Trish. But what does him being so kind to people have to do with him being a pseudo main character? Well, not all main characters in any series are kind. There's anti-heroes, normal people that just don't care about shit, edgy people, Jotaro Kujo. But Bruno's kindness is what tied our main cast for Vento Ario together. Bruno's the one that met Narantia, Mista, Abacchio, and Fugo and brought them all together as a gang. And then he met Giorno and they became allies. He's the boss of our little group of Passion and our leader. And aside from having a lot of screen time and being in a majority of the fights, he displays these leader characteristics, and you can tell he genuinely cares a lot about his friends, I guess. And it really is just this leadership characteristic that kind of makes him stand out as the main character, along with all the screen time he's given. Being in a majority of the fights, being the one that wants to go up to the boss and, do this mission, take him out when he finds out what his true motives are and stuff. Bruno has his reasons for doing things. He kind of seems like the main character, kind of doing the same thing Giorno's doing, but with his own different reasons. Now moving back to Diamond is Unbreakable, Koichi Hirose is probably one of the most distinguishable characters that has this pseudo main character trait. From the moment the part starts, we're seeing things from Koichi's perspective, as he's the person that narrates the entire story of part 4. We're immediately thrown into the small town of Morio to follow the bizarre events that unfold in the high school life of Koichi Hirose, dealing with punch ghosts, crazy people with arrows from immortal vampires, and David Bowie with a hand fetish. Aside from narration perspective, Koichi matures as a young adult from start to finish, and it's one of those things that makes him stand out so much. He starts off as this timid little boy that, for the lack of a better phrase, grows a pair of balls as he learns to deal with life and its issues, going through relationship problems with a crazy girl, but being able to work things out in the end, and helping down to track the murderer who killed so many innocent people in his crazy, noisy, bizarre town. Bizarre. Very bizarre. So crazy. Get it? Cause JoJo's bizarre, crazy, noisy bizarre town. Aha, I'm funny. His encounter with Kira at the shop halfway into the series definitely does a good job of displaying how Koichi had matured up to the point as he fought against him as well as he could, as long as he could, trying his hardest the entire time until Josuke and Okuyasu showed up to save him and Jotaro. And regardless of whether or not you're watching or reading the manga, you're like watching anime and stuff, or you watched it as it came out and that was your first experience with it, I'm pretty sure that it's very noticeable that Koichi changes from start to finish, and it makes me appreciate him a lot more as a character since he does get this development and the screen time, so it makes him better. It's like seeing a little kid grow up to become, big and strong, and you realize you're kind of old too, except Koichi only looks like a little kid, because he's really damn short, but he's like 16 years old, and he's like 5'2". Japanese people are short. Now, I was going to kind of talk about Gyro here, but since he technically is the main character for about the first 20 to 30 chapters of Steel Ball Run, I want to say, it wouldn't really be fair to speak about him on this list, and also I'm kind of working on some more Stone Ocean related videos, and I was going to mention a character from Stone Ocean in this video today, but I'm wondering if you guys would want character explained videos instead of just stand explains, where I kind of talk about a character's growth and development from start to finish, and then discuss what I like and dislike about the character. So if you guys are up for hearing that, and having that be a new series on the channel, and go ahead and leave a comment down below if you're interested. Now, the best example of what I meant by pseudo main character is Jean-Pierre Polnareff. He has the Bruno factor of getting a ton of screen time that adds on to him being important, as while he's on the screen, he's always doing something and he's involved in a lot of stand battles and key points throughout Stardust Crusaders. And Polnareff has a ton of really cool, fun moments in the part, but I think two of his best moments are the following. The Alessi fight. Though Alessi has the stand Sethan, which allows him to reverse someone's age on contact with the stand, reversing Polnareff and later on Jotaro to become small children again, so it's pretty much age reversal. And when this does happen, Polnareff ends up staying with a woman who takes care of him for a bit until Alessi resumes his attack on Polnareff, reversing the woman into a fetus by hitting her with the stand ability as well. So Polnareff takes action, realizing she'd continue reversing in age and end up dying, and he definitely did not want her to die. And after defeating Alessi, Polnareff and Jotaro revert back to their normal states, and so does the woman from earlier. And what would you know, the woman ends up approaching Jotaro and Polnareff, asking Polnareff if they'd have met before, and Polnareff has this moment where he kind of just gets very serious, and he keeps rejecting her, and he says that they'd never met before. And after a little bit of time passes by, he looks at Jotaro and they walk off. And she ends up staying with one of his earrings because she did have it in her hand, and she kind of looks at the earring and looks back at Polnareff, who has the earring in his right ear, I believe. And they kind of just have this little moment, and it's really sad. But it's kind of just one of those things where he had to get it over with. And we all know Polnareff loves women and would have stayed with her if he could have. And maybe he came back to visit her later on, but we wouldn't know. But his main goal was to avenge his sister's death and help Jotaro defeat Dio. And I can't really say much else aside from him pretty much handling the situation like a man and understanding he had priorities against, other things, and he had to do different things and had to take care of anything before he could think about sitting down and relaxing with some random girl. And, trust me, I agree with Polnareff on this. If I could have stayed, I would have, because the chick he was staying with was like, pretty attractive, pretty nice looking. But when you've got priorities to fight an immortal vampire, you kind of got to go take care of that shit. Now, if we rewind to the fight against the Hangman and the Emperor, when Avdol dies for like the first time, because he dies like 2 times or like 3 times. I lost count, and they kill Avdol a bunch. Polnareff can't help but blame himself for the situation, and he just breaks down and cries, knowing that he had to get stronger to protect the people he cared about if he ever wanted to achieve his own goals and assist his friends in their journey. So this quick shift with the character is just, so well done in my opinion, and I'm glad it was handled the way it was, because Polnareff knew he was an ordinary man, and he would make mistakes, and he couldn't do everything by himself. So he accepted this and moved on with himself, continuing to fight until Dio was finally defeated by Jotaro. And, I can really just sit down and dig this character so much. I want to do like an entire video talking about Polnareff by himself. Like I said, if you guys want to see this character explained video, then I will definitely do one on Polnareff, because going off on a side note here, I think he's one of the best written JoJo characters ever throughout all of the parts. I really like Jean-Pierre Polnareff. I think he's amazing. He's great. And I guess Koichi kind of reminded me of Polnareff with the same aspect of self-acceptance and hope of improving. But Koichi also narrates the story while Polnareff doesn't. But both of them both have this dynamic where at the beginning, it's not that they're necessarily the weakest, because Polnareff isn't, as I guess weak and afraid as Koichi is at the start. But they both have this development and this growth between the two characters, where from the beginning of the part to the end of the part, and when they appear later on in the series, they're both very different characters, and they're both mature like crazy. They've grown. It's amazing. It's really good writing. But seriously, go back and visit some of these scenes in parts 3, 4, and 5, and maybe you'll notice what I mean when I call these characters pseudo main characters. And hopefully now that you guys are thinking about it, you can see why I like all these characters so much. So, to quickly wrap things up, I guess, they all have this main focus on their personalities in their respective parts that kind of just make them, seem like they could have been a main character or a main figure throughout the part. And it's, followed by all the screen time, all the greatness, and, all of the just focus, I guess, that you would expect from a main Joestar of the part. Joestar? Joestar. I don't get why I can't talk. But anyways, if you guys enjoyed today's video, go ahead and leave a like. Subscribe if you're new to the channel. I upload JoJo videos on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, and occasionally throughout the other days of the week I might upload a thing or two. It depends on if I have videos ready or if I just want to do something on the fly and decide to upload it, and do things like that. I just randomly decide, hey, maybe I'm gonna upload this video today and talk about this, or maybe I'm gonna upload this video talking about that. And if you guys ever have any video requests, of course, for the stand swap series, for a stand explained video, or just for a JoJo Friday video, for anything, go ahead and leave a comment down below. I always look at the comments and I always look at suggestions and things like that. I really do appreciate them. So thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.